That's a fun sentence. Rough, gnarly knurl. Bring back the big gnarly knurl. Is the Paige Pro Capo. This is the first like handmade, super expensive, full-on professional capo that I actually feel like I would buy. I would spend the money. Now, I've owned a couple Elliots. I haven't kept them because for a bunch of reasons. It's kind of like blue chip picks. They're so expensive for a thing that's only a couple points better than the much more affordable version. So let's talk about this Paige Capo. I've had this for a few weeks. I got it at IBMA. I think it's an excellent capo. So I'll run through the upsides, the downsides, and if you're in the market, if you should buy one of these. And so, okay, let's talk about this thing. Everything I like about this capo. This is a hand-forged, handmade, really exceptional capo. Now, I will say it does feel a bit over-engineered, and that's kind of what they need to be. So this is like above $200. I think these are like $220. I'll put the exact price in here. But this is, I mean, it's very impressive. It feels excellent in your hand. I like that there's a serial number on it. So you can tell like they care about this thing. They've made this thing really well. The cradle itself is really excellent, especially this dial that runs the set screw back and forth to set the tension of the neck. I like how it is in the whole housing of the guitar. It's not a set screw on the end, which that's a pretty normal thing on the other Paige style capos or Paige capos themselves, but I like this. I like the knurl. That's the thing I've loved about Paige capos. My first Paige capo had a really gnarly knurl. That's a fun sentence. Rough, gnarly knurl. But it was such a tactile experience to like really turn that thing, and it was awesome. It like with sweaty fingers, I never slipped. It always worked. And they've gotten a little finer over the years. I wish they'd bring back the big gnarly knurl. That's what I'm gonna say. But I really like this. It's much more, it's not nearly as gnarly, but it's very well suited for like, yeah, in all sweaty situations, which I have sweaty hands, it has worked really well. The other thing I really like about this is the gate itself, how this connects. There are some of them that come around the end and they will miss. Like when the capo's coming on and off, and you'll think it's on, and then you tighten it, and then you hear this like pop, clang, and you'll hear the strings clang. This one has a very satisfying and very like confirming notch as it clicks into place. Now the other thing we need to talk about is this bar across. This is probably the biggest single shift in this capo, is that this capo has these little plastic inserts with set screws on the side. And so this actually properly cradles each string, holds it down. Now, the thought behind this, what they told me at the booth at IBMA, the thought behind this is that they would imitate the same density of material as your nut or your saddle, which I do think is an important detail, because one of the things that you talk about is people are like, they make such a big deal about having a bone nut on a guitar, and then they play a capo. You're like, well, now you got a metal nut. Like, now this doesn't matter if you're at capo 3, if you're at capo 1. So I like the logic of this. Now they also have these contours, and they do seem to follow. I think these are all 16-inch radius. I could be wrong. Getting into the details always gets me in trouble because I'm not a super specky type. I want things that work, and I don't want to have to explain radius, radii, and all of that nonsense. But I think that these are all pretty much 16, and they also work for 1 3/4 nut width. Now, the guitar that I'm using, it doesn't matter that much, but this is a Ferk Vintage 2 OM. This is more specifically, this is the OM SR. So Sitka spruce top, rosewood back and sides. I love this guitar. Watch other videos on this guitar. But it is just playing the support role to the Paige Capo. Do it one-handed. Poor man's Breaking Bad. it gives you a really accurate tuning as you move up and down. And they told me at the booth that you could run it with one hand. I haven't found that to be as, like, you can, but it's noisy. And I still, like, I have 20 years of muscle memory on how to move a regular Paige capo. So I kind of put one hand over the top to silence the strings, and then I have my two fingers. So I have the palm of my hand on the strings, my two fingers are on the top of the capo, and then my left hand is kind of guiding it back and forth. I tuck the guitar kind of in my armpit, and then I'm able to move, and I'm not getting the noise, because otherwise you do get, it's pretty noisy. So if you would run it through here, like if I'm gonna go one-handed, like, you know, let's say I'm like finishing a song, and then I move it one-handed, I'm having to do a bunch of things. I'm having to like pinch it with these fingers, and then use my first finger to wiggle and change the set screw. And so, I mean, you can, like, there it is. So I could do it, but it's not ideal. So I still like this two fingers on that. So, I mean, overall, the polish, the fit, the features, the quality of this, I mean, is really, really excellent. It's a beautiful thing to look at. It's a beautiful thing to hold. It feels like a special thing. That's probably the biggest shift is other brands that make really expensive capos. Once you get them in your hand, they're so light. They don't feel substantial. They don't feel special. That's, yeah, I'll say that. I won't necessarily say the brand, but yeah, in that same above $200 range. Like, it just doesn't feel as special or as like handmade. Where this still feels like there's some like cool engineering and mechanics to it, and there's a good weight to it. It feels really comfortable. I can just throw it in my back pocket. Now, truth be told, I carry a Paige capo with me basically everywhere I go when I'm making these videos. In my everyday carry kit, I have, I'll show you. It's in here. I've shown this before, and so this is my everyday carry little guitar kit, and in here I carry just one of the regular nickel Paige capos. Now these are like $30, and these are freaking excellent. I don't think you can beat this. Now this is far from perfect, and this is basically perfect, I think. But there's probably like, it's almost 10 times different in price. But with the Paige capo, I always carry one of these. They fit really well in my back pocket. I don't have to think about them. I don't have to worry. Yeah, and so with those, I don't think I've ever lost one, but if I would lose one, $30, don't care. But if I lose this guy, that's the thing. So let's talk about the downsides of this. It is real expensive. Now, you can very quickly make a case for this because it's so well engineered, designed, handmade, lots of the details. So on the $30 Paige capos, one of the things that drives me crazy is that they got rid of the heat shrink. In the last couple of years, they've moved to felt. And the felt, as soon as you use it, it kind of squeezes out, and then you get to where you have just like the metal of the back of the cradle of the capo just pushing against the neck. Now, I haven't had any damage from that, but it's always a consideration where I'm always like, oh, don't crank it down too hard, don't crimp this neck, don't put a dent in the back of the neck of my guitar. But the other things about this, these saddles, or whatever you would call these inserts that sit on the top of the strings, they are noisy. I mean, it's a very big difference between the straight bar with the rubber, like basically it's hose. If you have that hose on it, it's a lot quieter. With these, by the time you get it on the guitar, I mean, you can hear, and you'd have to kind of dull it, but even then, there's still some noise for sure. So it's not, I can't call it like perfect. But that's my biggest thing, is that the motor skills are still there. I know how to move it and use it, but in the end, it is a bit noisier. Now, let's land the thoughts on this. Is this guitar worth the money? Should you buy it if you're looking for a proper exceptional capo? I think I have to answer this in a couple ways. Number one, who is this for? And I think that this is more a studio tool than it would be maybe playing every time. There are a couple things, like, in the studio, you could have this locked in and check your tuning, and you would be totally fine. Now, this does a really, really great job moving along. I think it's because of just how the strings get kind of funneled into these little domes, and then they get pushed down so the spacing stays the same. It doesn't scrunch or move your strings over, and it doesn't seem to pull, because it does follow a radius. It doesn't seem to pull the middle more than it pulls the sides. So all of those like tuning problems that a lot of capos get, especially if you get up high, because capos tend to exaggerate the setup of your guitar already. If you have a really well set up guitar, you're probably not going to have as many issues with capos and tuning and, you know, having to really check your tune between each capo move. I think this is a better studio setup than it might be live. Like, I would use the regular Paige for most situations for two reasons: because it's so expensive and because it's a little noisier. But if you've already used a Paige capo and you're moving, I think you're fine to use these. They stay in tune really well. Anyway, I'm circling back to thoughts I've already had. Overall, I think that this is an excellent capo. I would be super excited. I am super excited to own. I own serial number 192, so suck on that. You don't get to have that one. I have this one, but you get a serial number. Tag me in a picture. If you get one of these, tag me in a picture with it. I think that these are, I'm super happy with it, and I would definitely buy one again. Now, full disclosure, I did get this one in exchange for this video, and they're $200 and some, but I think Paige got a good deal. I think I got a good deal. And so this is the Paige Pro. It's an excellent capo. I'm a super fan of theirs. I believe in them. And man, it's, yeah, Paige capos have long since been a thing that I'm just convinced is excellent. And this is the right, like, professional, top of the line offering from them. And so go buy one. There is a link in the description down below. Now, that is an affiliate link, and I would get a commission if you buy from that. But it's a great way for you to get cool gear that I love and trust, and also for you to support the channel, because this video only happens with the support of my patrons, with my channel members, with brands that want to work with me, and the affiliate relationships that I've made. So thanks for watching. I'm Jeremy. This is the Paige Pro, a freaking excellent capo. And I'm very, very happy with it. And I hope that you buy one and fall in love with it like I've fallen in love with this one. It's good. It's good, good, good.